everybody. Happy Monday. It is April 20th. So don't forget to do your flip grid for question of the day. Today is what has been your favorite TV show or movie so far during quarantine? Okay. And then continuing on with reading I Have Lived 1,000 Years. Today you guys are going to read chapters 35 through 36. There is a quizzes game to review the comprehension questions. And then there's also a writing prompt for you guys to accomplish today as well. But during today's video, I'm going to recap chapters 32 through 34 of the reading and then explain some of the assignments that you guys are doing today. So chapter 32 was called The Bird of Gold. And this one doesn't really go in line with the rest of what's going on in the book. She kind of pauses and talks about a dream that she had of her and her father. And so in her dream, she's in a room called the Kamra, which is kind of like a shed that you might have in your backyard. They kept various things like flour, animal feed, chopped wood, etc. And it just so happens that Ellie is actually kind of scared of this room. She never liked being in there as a kid. Whenever she would go and grab something, she felt like there were maybe kind of like monsters in there, and she'd run back out after getting whatever her parents needed her to get. And so in her dream, she's with her father, and all of a sudden in the room flies in this bird of gold. And so it has these gold feathers. And so this bird had a bright light around it, kind of screaming in through. And her father was staring at that bird, and he couldn't look away. And Ellie didn't want to look at the bird. And so then all of a sudden her father turned into a statue, even though he kept staring at the bird. And after that dream, Ellie was kind of thinking about what it meant. And she realized it must have meant that her father was dying or had died. It was just sort of symbolic in that way. The next chapter is chapter 33. It's called An Echo in the Fog. So this is when Ellie learns that they're going to be transported to Dachau. And so she had been in Augsburg up until this point. And Mr. Scheidel was a kind man who worked with Ellie. She talks about how he gave her thin bread crust to eat. And Ellie later asked him for some paper for her to write some poetry. And it was just kind of again, another nice person that she came in contact with during the Holocaust. Because we remember there are always good people, even in bad situations. So on their journey to this new camp, they landed at Camp Landsberg, but it was too full. So they continued on to Muhldorf, which has had a lot of death and disease. They talked about having typhus, and it just kind of ran rampant through the whole camp there. And so when they get to this camp, they find out that Bubby is there and others from their hometown as well. So, I mean, they're super excited. They're really happy to know that Bubby has still been alive throughout all of this. And so Ellie and her mother find a way to get transferred to be closer to Waldlager, which is Bubby's camp. And so when they finally get to talk to Bubby, there's a fence between them, and they realize that Bubby is in just a horrible condition compared to them. They had great food and were taken well care of while they're in Augsburg, so they're a lot stronger. And Bubby, it turns out that the men at their camp aren't fed as much, and that's why he's in the condition that he is in. But they're going to try and help him. So the next chapter, To Face the World, we find out that Laura Bubby and Ellie's mother, has been assigned to kitchen commando. And so that means she works in the kitchen. She has to peel potatoes all day. Sometimes she has to peel carrots. But the positive in that is that she gets to eat as many as she wants throughout the day. She is not allowed to take any of them out of the kitchen, and she could get in a lot of trouble or even killed if she steals some. But what Laura and Ellie decide to do is they share the one bread ration that they get, and then the other one they're going to get to Bubby. And so Bubby's health definitely begins to improve after having that extra bread ration, so that extra nourishment. And so something that happens is the gates open as rumors spread that the Americans are coming. Ellie is getting more and more excited that they're going to be liberated and they're going to be reunited with all of their family, their friends. And we know that Ellie is much younger than everybody else. She's the youngest in her family. Bubby's older than her. And so Bubby kind of breaks it to her that there probably aren't going to be any other survivors, that everyone probably went to the gas chambers or died throughout the whole process of selections and everything. And up until this point, Ellie, she knew about the gas chambers and she knew that that was going on, but she was still really hopeful that it wasn't entirely true. She kept holding out on hope that there was a camp for children and elderly all along. But after that news is broken to her, she can't fully understand how she can face a world where things like this happen. And so it's a really, really, at the beginning of the chapter, she was kind of excited because they're getting liberated. But that chapter ends pretty sadly. So you guys are going to answer the questions that go along with chapters 35 and 36. She is and her family are kind of on the trail to getting liberated, but things get worse before they get better. I guess I'll say it that way. So after you complete the reading, you guys are going to do a writing prompt. And this is not something tied to our book. The writing prompt, there's a quote here. It says, "It is not easy to be a pioneer. Oh, but it is fascinating. I would not trade one moment, even the worst moment, for all the riches in the world." Elizabeth Blackwell, who is a British-born physician and the first woman to receive a medical degree in the United States. And so the question is, if you could be a pioneer or an innovator in the field of your choice, what would you want it to be known for? Why? Make sure you identify the field you would choose. Just kind of some examples. You could be the pioneer of, think of Steve Jobs. He created the iPhone, and we have a whole world that's kind of been created because of him. You could be a pioneer of, say, engineering or anything that you're interested in. Maybe it is social media, okay? Stuff like that. What are you interested in, okay? And there is a rubric that goes along with this. So total, it's going to be 7 points. You need to make sure you answer the response. You have a topic sentence kind of telling us what field you want to be an innovator of. You need to have evidence or personal connection. Why does this matter to you? Why is this important to you? And then some other supporting details there. Make sure you have a concluding sentence. So you kind of, overall or in the end, give me some sort of transition word there that might help show that you are concluding your writing. So strong vocabulary, transition word usage. You could, if you're listing reasons, firstly, secondly, thirdly, those are all good ways to use transition words. Make sure you answer all parts of the prompt, and then make sure you count your sentences. You need to have 8 to 10 sentences in all to get full credit. Okay? So just to kind of review, again, you're reading chapters 35 and 36. You're going to answer or do the quizzes game online. I'll have that through Google Classroom as well. And then the writing prompt too. Okay, please email me if you have any questions. I hope you guys are doing well, and hopefully it's a little warmer outside since it's been so cold. Okay, see you guys soon.